Hi, so the question is, what does the Bible say about government? And is it our responsibility to submit to the government? So you'd be surprised. I know that within some conservative evangelicalism today, there is a very strong push against principles that God has set up. So if you look at Romans chapter 13, I'm reading from a King James version of the Bible, so the language is a bit antiquated, but if you find a new modern version, you'll find that it's a bit more kind of uh, palatable. So, not that I have anything against the King James version, but I'm just going to read it here and then explain. I'm just going to read one verse. It's like pretty much a whole chapter, I think, half the chapter, I think. And so it says here in verse 1, Romans chapter 13, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. Some versions say, let everyone, that we're to submit ourselves to the governing authorities. For there is no power but God. The powers that be are ordained of God. So government is set up by God. Whether it's a good government or a bad government, it's ordained by God. That's what the Bible says. And then it says in verse 2, whosoever therefore resists the power or the authority, resist the ordinance of God, and they who resist shall receive to themselves condemnation or damnation. So, in other words, when you break a law, the law is there to punish you, right? So, I guess the question most people have during the times we're living in now is, well, what if a law is unjust? Should we submit at that point? And well, you have to be very careful because then you could pick and choose what you personally think what laws are just and what laws are unjust. But generally speaking, we should submit to the governing authorities. That's what the Bible teaches. And then in verse 3 it says, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. So in other words, when we do good, we are not afraid of our government, but when we do bad, uh, there's punishment for that. So it says, will you then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and you shall pray, and you shall have praised the same. So talking about ministers in our government, it says, for he is the minister of God to you for good. But if you do that which is evil, be afraid, for he bears not the sword in vain. For he is a minister of God, a revenger, to execute wrath upon him who does evil. Wherefore you must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but for conscience sake. So then we do that for conscience sake. We submit to the governing authorities, right? Then it talks about paying taxes. It says, for this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. So there you go. That's what the Bible says about government. God bless you.